So we have the front end of our buggy complete. Everything is super nice and free, very impressed with the quality so far. And now it's time for our buggy to finally take shape with bag K. With the front end bolted onto the chassis, we need to finish off the centre and rear ends. And in bag K we have all the hardware required to do just that. So we'll get straight on. We'll start by getting the centre differential that's been waiting patiently since the very first kit bag into position, starting with the metal split centre differential mount. Line it up on the chassis and secure it in place with 3 10mm flathead screws, going through from the bottom of course. As we're screwing into metal we need to use some thread lock here too. And once secure we can attach the remaining centre chassis brace pieces, the larger piece with 2 12mm flathead screws, and the rear piece with 2 10mm flathead screws. No thread lock needed here since we're going straight into plastic, taking care not to over tighten. Reach for that centre differential that has been patiently waiting since bag A and insert the centre drive shaft between the front differential and the centre before lowering the diff into place onto its mount, and covering with the top half of the diff mount, before securing into place with 3 12mm cap head screws, and one 16mm button head screw in the top right corner, bearing in mind these top two need thread lock considering they're going into metal. At this point everything should still be completely free moving, with no binding anywhere along the line whatsoever. Now we're ready to install the entire rear assembly, so lower it down into place, taking care to ensure the small dog bone feeds into the rear of the centre differential, before turning over to secure from the bottom. Starting from the rear, we insert 2 20mm flathead screws, followed by 2 12mm flathead screws, 2 15mm flathead screws, and finally another 2 12mm flathead screws, although these two with thread lock applied. All that's left is to finish off the rear chassis brace with these two pieces, which connect to each other with the only 18mm cap head screw in the kit bag, before lowering into place from the top of the buggy and securing with 2 12mm button head screws from above and into the rear assembly, and finally a 12mm flathead screw from the bottom. And that's it. Both front and rear assemblies installed and secured to the chassis, as well as the front and rear chassis braces and the centre differential within its housing. Just like the front, we notice the redesigned rear end with its new rear arms and new hubs. Everything has come together perfectly without any problems at all. We need to move on to building our shocks with the next two kit bags, which we need to build from scratch. So let's move on to the next step with bags L and M.